So as we normally do, to set our motivation at the outset, that we will do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment by perfecting all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path. And in order to perfect those trainings, I will endeavour to really study on the basis of an unmistaken text and unmistaken presentation. With this in mind, I am here to listen to a brief explanation on the outlines of the great treatise of the stages of the path to enlightenment as composed by the great protector Lama Tsongkhapa. So endeavouring to attain the state of enlightenment, the state of a Buddha, we are advised to perfect the six perfections and to engage in the four means of accumulating disciples. These are the kind of like prescribed activities for one having generated the mind of enlightenment. And we have been looking at those six perfections, the first being perfection of generosity, then perfection of ethical conduct, the perfection of patience, and now we're in the midst of examining the perfection of joyous perseverance, which is defined as that which takes delight in virtue. And so here that in order to facilitate the generation of such a mind, we need to dispel with certain hindrances to that, which are based around different categories of laziness. For example, the three laziness of the laziness of procrastination, constantly putting it off, and the laziness of engaging in our attachment to ignoble activities, and the laziness of self-contempt or and discouragement. and in order to also facilitate the development of joyous perseverance, we also are advised to take up certain activities, certain conducive activities. And so these conducive conditions are described under the heading gathering the forces of the favorable conditions, and they are four, and centering on four particular powers. So we have the power of aspiration, the power of steadfastness, the power of joy, and the power of relinquishment.
Lam tabata tabje juba tubeke and the Kasoda Tubeke Lam condition by in there. Kasoda son of the issue of Sola Sobetak condition Namsulanko in what that Lam to Tubacorius. Dubadi Yobaina and Casata and Tudu Daji and Woodes. Dubadi Mavaina and go to do to cake, you want what to get to Marwa. Was to do danger or soon till Mevani Duba was a Mevas. What that is much a tapando. Never did a tap so much me do some such.
So the first of these, the power of aspiration, which is synonymous with the yearning. And so saying through yearning, in fact, or aspiration, acts as a foundation, a basis for the development of joyous perseverance. So this is an attitude which really wants to engage in the practice of the path, the attainment of the state of enlightenment, indeed, whatever paths are necessary to be able to do that. One has the necessary enthusiasm in yearning, aspiration, to be able to do that. And it's saying here that as the basis of joyous perseverance, without this aspiration, that such joyous perseverance, the development of joyous perseverance is not possible. So we have to reach a point of view where we think, I have no other way, this is the only means by which I can really perfect joyous perseverance. I need to be able to nourish this sense of aspiration and yearning.
Sanje compounded, that Sanje, and that Sanje compounded is Tobaina, that you need about the day you were in by Yinza, and it's a subject to Balata, Casset never John Satita. Rota, subject to Setu, and the Casoda, Takaji, Dunjita was and the subject come, Meva Samba, Palanavata, Washington, that Kimbu Yinza, that the Digi Kimbala, and the Casa. Nyunjita Sheti Nika Mabana, Tapio Marva. That Nyunjipana ran to Mele Meva Chagri. Sheti Pana and the Sheta Tamjela, She Pazu Tiba Meva Chagua. That didn't Pazona and the Senja Tamjela to Yanti. That ran the Saman she took to Rata, Saman she took to Yorba. That the day you was that the Negi San Diego Combatela and Deva Yuba. That Deva Yuba, that Deva. That Deva did a tapena. 문제가 되봐 이치게 되봐 아니 가서도 당에 되봐 나서 되게 요바체나 아니 다 그래 중앙도 아니 주주지에 또 살아나도 주고 봐
And as it says then also that yearning in turn is the basis of yearning in turn is faith. And so this is so important to have this sense of conviction in what one is aspiring to do. And here it's faith in the state of enlightenment itself through one's appreciation of the qualities of an enlightened being, that such a mind has the perfect knowledge of all the different permutations of sentient beings, their different personalities, their different dispositions, their karmas, and indeed to understand what is necessary in order to be of perfect benefit to them. So having all objects of knowledge, like a Buddha, one has knowledge of all of this in relation to sentient beings. And this comes about through, of course, the abandonment or the overcoming of the obscurations, the deluded obscurations and the obscurations to omniscience. And once that has occurred, then one is able to really focus perfectly on fulfilling the purpose of sentient beings. And this is the state that we are aspiring to attain. So having faith, and this is a faith that is informed by like the three categories of faith, being faith of manifest faith, or faith of conviction, or pure faith, all of which lead to being able to cultivate the necessary joyous perseverance that will bring one to that state of enlightenment.
대바스게 지금 지지 샤바지 지지다 시우즈 자침보다 시우즈 야보다 그 라바자 많이 봤잖아. 이 이마를 하는 거처가 참 이제 안 가서다 신의 대바토 같이. 신의 대바토 같이 다 되게 지고 와. 산지가 연대되게 신 하고 같이. 하고는 에는 산지가 대바게. 신의 대바토 봤어. 다 지지 미지지 소소기 미이체사 소소 미가사지 어디 야보다 어디 야보다 치마이나 또 먹대서 잡으러 와. 진짜 많이 봤잖아. 랑기 당보다 미직 시행으로 와. 미직 마시나 하고 미직 지지다. 에는 소소 딱지제. 딱지제네. 딱 랑기 툭죽이 랑기 가제스 랑기 상월을 되대. 에는 되지더래. 오늘 다 된대 여봐. 연대대 요르다스 와자마자 주된대질 랍샤. 주된대질 랍아이나 저부터지 용고로 와. 된대지 인차도 다 시우지를 샤. 디 지금 지가서도 다음에 대봐. 아니 이치게 대봐. 아니 심지어 탐지가 된 두고 도에 안 되려면 타면도 아니 원쪽에 대봐. 어떻게
And so when we talk about faith in this way, it is a faith that is really a knowing, an understanding, something that we have internalized to have absolute conviction in. And so this really comes from, is born from analysis, checking out, really understanding what we are convinced about and why we are so convinced. And so here it's the qualities of the enlightened being, of understanding those, and understanding the cause and effect relationship as to if I establish these causes, then it is reasonable to have faith that I will attain these results, that there is a realistic outcome available to us if we establish the causes. So we, in this way, develop the faith, the pure faith, the faith of conviction, and the faith of really the manifest faith of really knowing how the aspiration or the objective that we have of attaining enlightenment itself can be made manifest.
가서 촉지시요. 다들 니마같이 저거 스프링을 치면 스프링을 비게 지미게 스프링 쇼핑 센터나 이제 스테이트도 코피도 돼. 그래서 실랑가 미실렸어. 그 실랑가 데서 미실레 안 거기 안 가서 저랑 lumba ka ne sa ma pe ba yile an chozo te ba chimbo ro sa je te ba chimbo sa an ko ran na ba yin sa 실랑 na ba yin sa an te ba che jong ko ke ba de an khala ni kwanda khala sa ma sa ro sa te ba tekmen ke kwanda khala ma sa ba tekjen ke kwanda khala ke ba ti ta ge ho sho so mun je te ba che jong ke ba di ma ro an ge kwanda khala sa ma sa ro ma re sa 지다 위나야 대바다 대바 첨보다 대바 중 위나야 집어랬어. 오늘 저는 랍도 중하게 치료 가세 빵고요래. 그래. 이나다 수부 대보면 와다 거야. 그 믹스에나 그 지금 서게 좀 돼. 투자와 시화제 뭐 인상. 그 믹스에 요라다. 내가 들으이나 그 수부 내다 야 보면은 되면은 치료 갈아서 저 요마로 그 상계 제발 봐. 근데 대바 치료 계좌 말하고 이제다 신경도 와. 신문전은 다 데려와. 태그맨게 저 년지 방답 지르와 태과 쳐보게 년지의 시지니가 방으로 와다 타바 토바나 년지 녀바도 방으로 탐지 캐마 토바나 녀바도 시지 방으로 와 년지의 시지니가 ene 방자 샤다 마사이 잡아 준 것도 와 보시나 제 다가제 데데로 다가제 남바이니 라오세네 남배 줄로 좀 스케 매버체 ene 스스 파만 남바이 다가 남바이 스토리로
So I'll just relate a joke, actually, a funny story from a visit I had to Singapore and Malaysia.
Singapore not. Springwell, yeah, Springwell.
Oh,
Springwell.
Springvale.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. In Springvale. And there I met in the shopping centre one Sri Lankan man. And he inquired where I was from. I said, I'm from Tibet. And he said, so are you a Mahayana Buddhist? He said, and I said, yes. He said, I'm a Buddhist too, he said. I'm a Theravadan Buddhist. And as far as I understand, he said, the difference, isn't it, between the Theravadan tradition and the Mahayana tradition is that the Mahayanas have an evening meal and the Theravadans don't have an evening meal. And Gela says, well, that's not really quite, doesn't quite describe the difference here. Like in terms of eating and times of eating. Generally speaking, yes, as far as the Vinaya is concerned, generally one has just the lunch meal, not an evening meal. But of course, the Buddha, in his love, in his compassion, cited several exceptions to that, especially if one's own health isn't the best, isn't good, then one is actually required to have an evening meal as well, or extra food to maintain the fitness of the body for practice. So this is in relation to what you mentioned about food, but in actual fact, if we talk about the actual difference between the Theravadan or the individual liberation vehicle, say, and the Mahayana vehicle, we can discuss it in terms of the kind of obscurations that need to be abandoned in order to fulfill the goals of the respective traditions. So from the point of view of the individual liberation vehicle, to abandon the deluded obscurations is the goal in order to attain liberation. From the Mahayana point of view, both the deluded obscurations and the obscurations to omniscience need to be overcome and abandoned in order to attain the state of enlightenment. And so that is a more accurate differentiation between the individual liberation vehicle and the Mahayana vehicle. So, in terms of the Vinaya, there is no difference between them. And so this is what the kind of conversation you might have with a person who's operating under a kind of a blind faith system, whereby by their parents were Buddhists, and they consider themselves Buddhists just on the basis of that, without having really any kind of education in terms of Buddhism. And so, in terms of all beings, of course, to avoid undesirable circumstances, undesirable suffering, we must understand that it is because we are in cyclic existence that we experience all of that which is undesirable, and that being in cyclic existence arises from our kind of adherence to what are known as mental afflictions, and they come like in two main categories under the term obscurations: the deluded obscurations and the obscurations to omniscience. And so in order to attain liberation from cyclic existence, one has to overcome or abandon the deluded obscurations, and in order to attain the state of enlightenment beyond that, one has to both overcome or abandon the deluded obscurations and the obscurations to omniscience. So here emptiness, or the realization of emptiness, is critical in order to be able to overcome the obscurations or the deluded obscurations. But in order to overcome the obscurations to omniscience, one must also combine that emptiness with the mind of enlightenment, or bodhicitta, and that's the kind of Mahayana prerogative. So this is one way of also defining the difference between the traditions.
Deve dube denje ba sube asa ta deva de dube denje ba sube ta deva de sube shiba je ba sube ni chi ge deva ni je sa pangba ta lao de deva ni ge be chi ro se ta de ge ta ta ve deva chi da me be deva ta de zu ge de chi to ani de dube ge ani ka so ta ka se mon de ge deva ti no so so de so ta de jo la ko ju cho bo de ju da ge ma zo na 소수 되어도 뚝뚝 말아. 다들 저도 아니 뒤 개가시 빵고야. 뒤 튕년 가시 줄랑 거야. 내가 좀 이게 개배치로죠.
And so it's saying then that this faith acting as the basis for the desire, the yearning or the aspiration, and informed like by the kind of different faiths, like faith of conviction and so on, one comes to both understand and engage in the practice of both abandoning that which needs to be abandoned and taking up the practice of that which needs to be practiced in order to give rise to the two, to fulfill the desires that one has, desire to attain liberation and desire to attain the state of enlightenment.
강라 준주 잡아 될래 미도버 타치 뭐 오서 다 때베도 사 주어 매버치네 라 주어 매버치네 다 때베도 다 같이 다 소소게 되지 남서 당고 미유샤 인 미유디 엔 주가리샤 딱딱 못 쳐봤죠 로다 로카서데 로다 람마노와 차창와 고리 마셔 왔잖아 딱딱 이해하잖아 아니 다 디 고조 자도 아니 디 다 요매 받잖아. 그러니까 타치고 뚝뚝해. 자치 고그려 수고로 때보잖아. 좋아. 때베 똑기 고렸어. 是吧？我就差不多用过的，你们看些就刚才真的，我调到남자 주고 말아 봐.调到남자 주고 가서 타바다 탐대 개발서도 정보 세나다. 개발이 개발봐도 주고 있게 잘 봐. 개발이 개발봐도 주고 있게 잘 봐. 남자 니만 가시 지금 교육 정보티 가요 말아. 가요 말아. 나도 인사 이나 당보 뭐 쳐가지고 또. 내가 산탑 탑지 뭐 쳐가지고 뭐 쳐네. 근데 교가리셔. 다 탑지 뭐 연대가 통사도 다 연대인데 영화 근데 연대 딱 말아서 탐지 뭐 통고 영화데 이네 다디 교가리셔. 요 된대지 치마 이나 저거 된대시다 용초사제 삼사시다. 말아서 미임에서 맛있던 거 이마인상 뭐 쳐도했어. 뭐 쳐도 다요 된대지 뭐 연대 요 된대는 고름 간대지나 죽고 거도. 얘 찾아시고도 안돼. 고름 때에 찾아시는 그 라카서 다람 아니 가서도 람 워트 아니 람 만나와 람 찾아와 야 찾아와 이네요 고름 툭 때는 그 제보 딱 다준 거라 고름 맞춰 가지고 그도 고름 맞춰 가지고 그도 뭐도 신경이 따버려 된다라 코라코라 뒤뒤 봐 제거에 뭐 쉬우도 어디 다 되네 아니 지금 가서도 때문에 또 없는데 이게 그랬어 또 무슨 데려도 그 리카시다 페널 롭 땡두 롭 좀 소제 페널 PhD 제고 삼사 줘봐이나 다 PhD 제는 배다 지금 튕게 차상 지금 우리 튕게에 가리 말 튕게 차상 당도 정부 쪽으로 다 랍다 야가시다 그래 다 되게 차상 점차나 롭 좀 다 PhD 로 숨신가 제고 요바이나 다로 숨시서 간장스나 습주 차네 어떤가 지금에 세샤샤 뭐 보이고도 와 그래서 그 때문에 또 요 말아 봐 때문에 또 저거 도 와
So the second of these powers is the power of steadfastness, and that here it's important to see its place in the development of a joyful perseverance. And here it's really saying that one must take a very long-term view over the attainment of one's objective. So one first establishes the objective, what I want to attain, and then one must adopt an unmistaken, complete, and a correctly ordered path or stages of the path in order to attain that objective. And as one must also examine well beforehand to say that once I begin, I will not turn back. I will not simply drop out. And so we can see how this is kind of like a really quite a difficult power for us to establish, because we always have this kind of short-term view, saying like a push-button idea that if I do a little, I'll gain a lot. But it's not like that. That there is no sort of immediate way of attaining something as vast and as profound as the state of enlightenment. One must be prepared to endeavor from eon to eon, and there's no way one can simply just practice for a few days and then expect some great realization. So this is very, very important. So it's important to kind of do the preliminaries really beforehand, the kind of research to recognize for ourselves what it is we want to attain, what that objective is, and then to go, okay, what are the causes that I need to establish to bring about such a result, and that we want to be able to understand that. For example, something like enlightenment we cannot see directly, but we can make kind of implications on the basis of, if I establish such and such a cause, it's likely to lead to such and such a result. And so we can in that way gain enough conviction with regard to the process to enter into that with some sense of surety. And so it's important for us to, once we do begin, we set about establishing those causes accurately, and this again brings forth the necessity of relying upon not just a non-mistaken presentation, a non-mistaken path, but one that is complete and also one that is in the correct order. It's kind of like no use trying to run before we can walk. And so it's important to do things in order. And this is similar to many of kind of external phenomena that we witness, like indeed how a farmer goes about planting seed and so on. It must wait for the correct season, and planting the correct seeds in the correct season. Some things grow better in summer, and some things in spring and winter, and so on. So this is kind of related to that, and it's also to kind of like understand. It's like when we engage in even something like a difficult course of study, like maybe studying for a PhD, that it's important to do one's research, see what's involved in it, and have all the necessary conducive conditions gathered together, the finances in place to engage in what could be a course of study that goes on for 5 years or more, but not to be caught out, not to kind of like lose all enthusiasm and have the wind knocked out of your sails in year 4 and you drop everything, which often happens, isn't it? People just can't bring it through, and this is because they don't have this power of steadfastness that once I start, I'm going to carry whatever I'm doing through to completion, and I won't abandon it. So very important not to change course once one has set out on that course. Get them ship go. Gawe dop. Gawa.
야 미셔마지 딜리티지 야가 열라 엔디 제가 샤야 샤바로 하지 마. 그치 어디는 저거 다 맞아 막 뭐용 되게 도와. 그럼 지금 가리 있네. 당부 지나 야고 멤버 이바이나 거 샤고 돼 계신 모르게 돼. 얘는 당분에 고마 조건에 딱딱 하고 같이 그 뒤수 좋아 주고 도 그래서 그 럽종도 같이 토는 계신 모르. 다들 냠내 지금 다 딜리 개차죠. 딜리 개차차들고 개차차들.
So, in terms of the power of steadfastness, it really we underestimate really how important it is. And we can see this in many different endeavors, like our study, that where someone recommends a book, for example, you should really read this book, it's going to be really, really helpful, it's very important. And so you get the book and you read it, and then, you're halfway through it and somebody else suggests another book. And so you leave that one aside halfway finished, and then you go to the next book, and you go to the next book, and so on. And so you can see that you're not bringing anything to completion here. And one has to really have that sort of ascertainment from the beginning that yes, once I start something, I will bring it to its completion, and not to waste time. Constantly beginning, but not finishing anything. And so if this is important in terms of just our general study, how much more important when we are engaged in spiritual practice, that once we set out to practice, that we will bring that to completion.
소소고 주고 주사면 차고 소소고 한 가야 안 먹어 차에 한 먹어 당도 소소지 시축사 요 같이 제 아니 뒤 양고지 심어이나 아니 셔바가 젤로와 있네 아니 편도요 편도 요래 다 뒤에 봐봐 전에 또 아니 주고 조사 봐봐 뭐 시간을 뒤 빼고도 같이 시간 대 빼고래 아니 저기 대 빼고 인도 아니 시간 밑에 빼고 놓두고 봐 대비야 불러두고 셰 가만히 주고 조사 가요 뭐 가시라 가서나 세주만 보여 봤지 아니 랑 뒤인생 주고 줘야 내가 찾도 셰만 보여 그렇잖아 다 뒤에 봐봐 당부 찍고 제주제 딱딱 하고 봐잖아 그 소소부터 조사 남가 딱딱 내 봤지 지 녀차는 뒤소 딱딱이 녀차도 아니 대비 막 젤로 또 있나 다 편도 용대 그러 편도 다들 뒤송에 들에 다들 할래 표정 때문에 나로 아니 좀더 심하게 걸 젤로 봐 있나 상교 좀 된다 대바체도 셔도 주고도 다 남배 중으로 약고지 신사도 아니 치료배 중으로 젤요 받아 넣어 봐 있나 다 가지고 거서는 아니 상교 좀 되는 대바체도 셔도 연대 쳇도 두고 열어다. 자, 다 야고라 말이 인터넷에는 그거 출되기도.
So it's very important to when we undertake a course of study to really really be consistent in terms of like what we first begin to study. Say we have a particular book that we actually read that book, we finish that book, we ascertain what is in that book, we really know it well, and to kind of be able to speak about that book from our own point of view, kind of we have internalized the import of what it is, and to be able to discuss and criticize and so on. But this is something that's not so well established in the West because of the fact that on one hand so many books and people have a kind of a tendency to want to read a lot, but they don't read in a way that's the most beneficial way to read. There's a kind of like a kind of throwaway culture in terms of just quickly skimming through a book and then go on to the next one and go on to the next one, or have several on the go at the same time, or not really bring any to completion, to finish any. And so this creates a sense of a kind of a jumble in the mind, kind of almost a confusion in the mind, where there's nothing kind of valuable that you can point to that you gained from what you were reading. And so that this is to be avoided. That one really has to kind of really make sure that one is reading something with the intention of gaining something really important from it, and therefore reading closely, reading conscientiously, until we understand well what is being said, and have a certain conviction in what is being presented, based on our own kind of analysis and our own kind of putting it to our own analysis as well, and to make sure that it is of benefit. When we do that, then when we extend our reading to engage in other kinds of books, that that kind of habit that we have established will only be helpful in our further reading. In other words, we'll get a lot more out of all of our reading if we kind of learn the kind of like habits of reading really well. And this brings to mind Hala Buchung, who remember he's the one who the Hindu master who lost the debate, was put into the library of the Buddhist monastery, and then started reading all of the Buddha's words. And thereafter he proclaimed, he became a great scholar of Buddhism, and he proclaimed that no matter how much of non-Buddhist publications or readings I make, they only serve to increase my conviction in the teachings of the Buddha, in the words of the Buddha, because he had established that for himself in his very, very skillful kind of like and rich reading.
내가 뎁스에 다 지당 뎁들 시금 진짜 다 지대에 뎁도 내가 가서 말아 제가 나를 내가요. 당연 최대로
So when I say book, of course, here I'm not talking about certainly kind of like all kinds of worldly publications that are out there. I'm talking really about Dharma books, spiritual books.
제가 하는 내가요 말.
So all the kind of worldly publications, yeah, you can leave those half finished if you like. That's okay.
가외 톱게반에서 가외 톱게반은 대달 두바잡이 매매 톱게서 두바잡이 매매 톱 준주 맞게 받게지 게스 미도 받아 준주 맞게 받게 아니 준주 게스 받게 받게 매받지는 뺐다 모두 저도 그랬어 미도베 주로서 때베 톱서.
So the power of joy, developing that power of joy, again through the really powerful yearning and the power of aspiration, we kind of like develop a joyous perseverance that has not yet been developed, and make sure that we continue the level of joyous perseverance that we have, so that it becomes irreversible, that we don't allow it to in any way degenerate. This is the power of joy kind of serves this purpose.
아니 가지가 똑주는 당부 주베체 가시도 주바 가지가 똑다 가지에서 남중 좀 가지 주마게 다 가지 민다서도 다 내체 투그레스 저게 투그레스 소소다 소소게 등줄래 줘라다 근데 양 가지에서 뭐죠 남중 가지 패바트게 시고요 말다 내체 투그레 다 내 투그레스 소소 등줄래요 똑주네 당부 주베체 가시도 주바 소소 가시 쪼시고래 주바 슈베체야 레디 초초가 밑에 왔다 슈베체 다 슈차네야 아니야 지금 다야 다지 가서 디 초체 되면 맞아 무튼에 대중도 용해죠 그래서 미국에 사바 이렇게 같이 놓는 무슨 사바네 가게 없어 이게 되게 맞아 오셔.
And so, implied in the power of joy is a certain sense, as it says here, the power of pride. But we're not talking about pride in the terms of it being an affliction, a deluded sense, but rather a sense of yes, I can do this. A certain kind of inner confidence that one has. And so this is relevant to when we talk about joyful perseverance. This is the sense of which, when we enter into an activity, a virtuous activity, we can do so with a joy, with kind of a joyful confidence. And this is where the power of joy comes into. And whilst we are engaging in any virtuous activity, also this is what helps us not to kind of stop or to allow that activity to be cut and to continue with it. Also, it's that which creates a sense of being insatiable with regard to engaging in virtuous activities, and the sense of I do not want this virtuous activity to discontinue, to stop. I want to continue on with it. And so this is all included in the power of joy.
다 되게 중요하나 아니 변화 저기 남내 지기네 로촌 지기네 그 가세시야 와 강에는 동네 제도로 와 가지 조심으로 수도 되어 요마디 어제.
So you can see how essential this is indeed, not just in terms of practice, but in all activities, to enter into something with such enthusiasm and joy and confidence, and that which really kind of like spurs one into virtuous activities, that in having that one can overcome obstacles, difficulties and so on. In doing so, they won't be an obstacle indeed. So you can see how this plays out, for example, in those who kind of have take joy out of earning money, for example. They'll undergo all kinds of hardship because the goal is to earn lots of money. So they may not like the job they're doing at all, but they do like the money they get for doing the job. So there's a certain enthusiasm and joy in entering into it. And so this is not similar, of course, to the joy that's being described here into attaining the state of liberation and the state of the omniscient state of enlightenment. One develops such joy on the basis of really an appreciation of the qualities that describe these states, and that thereafter one sees how worthwhile, how beneficial it is, and one has that kind of joy to continue on regardless. And the fourth power is the power of relinquishment, which is really an understanding of the fact that when the body and mind is tired, that we just need to take a break, and we need to relax a little. But this is strictly with an understanding that this break is in order to be able to continue one's practice into the future. And so as such it is like skillful means, and that here it's an understanding that, especially at this level of a beginner, that our physical body is coarse, and as such it has limitations. It will get tired, it will get weak, and the mind as well. And so it's skillful to say, I will take a break now, but it is only in order to kind of refresh and to really engage again, continue on the path.
break the choice book do ya break yuling jane and jema들 야 이거 말이야. 그 choice 뭐잖아. choice 무슨 딱 뒤주 딱다지야. 모두 제 뒤에지. 양 무슨 break 샷을 bad break 샷나? 양 무슨 bad color. le 당제 제일 남의 제 답시 마지막이죠. 근데 뭐 맞죠. 제일 남의 제 체도 아니 모두 제치는 그 break 대저로다.
So really one's motivation for a break in this sense is in order to facilitate the continuation of one's practice. So it's not a sense of like a very definitive kind of break. In that sense, it might be more difficult than to enter into one's practice, but to kind of really use one's break as a kind of practice in itself. To say that I motivate in order to be able to continue my practice in shortly, and to take a break now. So it's kind of like a break is a condition of practice. And so indeed it's a condition of practice in order to ensure the continuation of practice, and never to be kind of like an obstacle to practice.
통동 부이다 보지요. 답시죠. 그랬어. 아니 통도도는 가서 교리 무엇이 될지 간다서는 제마들 되니 맞도 차온 거로 왔는데 많이 받잖아. 근데 맞지 받지를 거저 지금 다디 거 답시지도 수나치 치 준비해서 받쳐도 제수 좀 받쳐 제를 받쳐요. 그래서 예수 소에 되게 쳐 버렸어. 예수의 주주를 보지. 근데 튕겨로 좋았지. 그래서 아니 예수 맞다 다 예수 써서는 애는 토마다 양 좀으로 좀씩 나만 레버 토나 대답제 촉식 미셔버려 공부 시시 자와를 좀 가지고 다 소주기도 지금 다 준비시도 소소도 남의 지역도 오다 다들 남의 지대 야부처는 안디 다가라 대마제 안디네 야 고치 계절 보서 야 뭐 공부지가 안디 배출지 안디 야부처는 안디 내가 공부지 야 배출지 이제 좀 돼서 뭐다.
So the kind of detail then within the power of relinquishment is that to yes, understand that because of the limitations of a coarse physical body, mind, and that we will require rest, and so one can do that in order to refresh the body, but to be very, very clear on that it is like a skillful means. Because one understands if one continues on like just kind of like stubbornly forcing oneself into practice, that can lead to a kind of like a breakdown in a way, and that we become more not just tired but exhausted, and that can lead to becoming disheartened, and that is to be avoided. So it's a skillful means in order not to go to an extreme as well. And so, as well as that, then as soon as we have had the break, then we continue on with our practice, and it's also a way of being able to take stock of what what has been going well, and to be able to then re-establish that good habit, good process, in terms of aiming for higher standards in the future, like pushing oneself to again engage in higher and more profound activities, and that so in the course of one's break, this is a skillful means of improving one's practice when one gets back into it again. So it's yes, that's the way to do it.
뭐 레갈 브레이크 지금 레갈 브레이크 제스도 다 배다 두다 지니 다와 지니 브레이크 제요 봐. 냠레 브레이크 제스도 되네 맞다. 냠레 브레이크 제스도 니마 찾지 냠레 제. 아니 되네 다 제서 도스 브레이크 제. 다 두다 지 브레이크 제 냠레 줄 맞지 되네 브레이크 제 말와.
So we're not talking about here like a holiday, like in terms of mundane work, like we take a week off or a month break. Here, in terms of practice, we're talking in the course of a day, the kind of break you take. And also, when it talks about in terms of meditative concentration and developing the skills of meditative concentration, it can be applied to the idea of that when we begin to kind of develop those kind of meditative concentrations, quality is emphasized over quantity. So short sessions of good quality, then take a tiny break, then go back into it again. So in this sense of understanding like the skillful means of using one's kind of store of energy wisely.
아니 지금 송라블로에 라서 칸디지에 라서 다가제 지금 소소가 지금 다 강투도게 아니 지금 가서도 굴로다가 아니 무시 가라는 삼로당에서 딱딱 땅도에 강투도데 근데 다 저도 도스 예수자고 야 삼로딱 땅도에 제지어 봐다 어디 쓰고 열어 봐.
So in this terms, it's like when we're engaging in like fixing meditation or analytical meditation, just kind of like a short break to ensure the high quality of focus that is required in that kind of activity. Or indeed when we're reading Dharma texts, or when we're doing our commitments and prayers and so on, you continue on to make sure that you maintain a high level of meditative concentration and focus. If you feel that wavering, then you take a short break, like a breath break, and re-establish one's motivation, and then back into it again, like that, to kind of use the time to reflect a little bit on how your practice is, and to again reassert yourself into the practice. And so this is in order to also be absolutely convinced that the mental afflictions will not be taking a break, will not be taking some sort of a holiday from your mind. They will be active 24/7. And so your level of attention needs to be there to counteract, to apply antidotes in that context as well. And so so therefore it's recognizing that if one gets too lax and sort of really just like it flops out of one's concentration, and that will automatically open the door for mental affliction. So just to be aware.
그래 배는 가서 우당에도 그 브레이크 제거요 말아. 우도 소소 가서부터 처부터 우당 거로 왔다. 디다 찍어지는 아니 녀모라 잘하지. 녀모 끼기도 찍고도 녀모 끼고도나 맞게 답시지. 끼고도나 하나 오다 지금 로스빌로 되게 거제네. 야 공부도 꽤 답시지. 지금 그거 왔다 또 거두이네. 아니 그게 통화이네. 그게 통화이네. 아니 그게 통화이네. 아니 나와는 심매아 유대는 좀 매아 똑배 파다서로 유대는 또 싸워니네 매아 삼성은 그 뒤에 싸움을 넣어 차도 같이 나에 대다 수주와시 나기도 돼 대법이 내서 수주와시 싸워니네 매고 주버래 루에 주제래 되게 그 소소다 추나처에서 그 뒤에 싸움을 넣어 차도 대차발 때는 대차이네 숙충아 콘도이네 숙충아 제당이네 숙충아다 그래서 거기 시에다가 콘도 되자께도 소리 집히가 유sam사지는 게 것도 디 대대라 매바체도 지금 모두 내던 거를 기그래 이네 대점 숙청 못 되겠지 아니 딜라테는 레냐 바사데 숙청 거도
So it's like in our breathing, you know, we don't tend to take breaks in our breathing, and so therefore we needn't take breaks in terms of having that sort of mindfulness there. That's checking, that is checking for the presence of mentally afflicted thinking, and so that we can really kind of recognize it as it arises. If it has arisen, and then to kind of like really apply the antidotes and to place our mind in a more beneficial stream of thinking, a more positive stream of thinking. And so this is kind of like important to us to be able to see that this is applicable and advisable whenever. Very, very important for us to do this. And also in terms of having a kind of like a side awareness of the fact that, you know, phenomena lack any objective or inherent existence. They are merely imputed by thought, that they may appear to be truly existent to our minds, but they don't exist in that way. That is a false appearance. And so one is simply reminding really oneself in a subtle way continuously of this reality. And that in turn is a very subtle way of actually really reducing, and it will reduce the level of anger, the level of attachment, and of course the level of ignorance in our minds, in our kind of mental system. It's very, very important to understand that there you're kind of like promoting the actual reality, the actual state of reality, in opposition to a false state of reality. And so the fact of anger and attachment and ignorance being so prevalent and so lifelike in our minds is because we really think that the objects of those delusions are really there, really out there, objectively existent. That's what gives them fuel in a way. And so when you're promoting in your constant mindfulness the opposite, the actual reality of things, as lacking any such true existence, any objective existence, then you are taking away the kind of like the fuel for those afflictive emotions. And it's very, very good to do that, because following on from that then, without the prevalence, domination of those mental afflictions, we will not thereafter engage in negative actions that accumulates negative karmas.
유대는 마주고 당지 삼루지 당 근데 삼루지 당 오다데 똑바 파다 삼도 요 말이야 민도 요즘 도대 여당데 똑바 파다 삼도 민도 그래서 뭐야 파 다지 지난 그 전당대에 되게 돼 오다 나와도 유대 좀 나고도 나오는 시 민도 그래서 야 그 잡아지 이제 그래서 쇼핑센터로 저 커피 레스토랑 이래 삼도한데 내가 배도 보다 대만 뭐 통화돼 갔다 통화디 저 유대 좀 나고도 나고 나오는 시 민도 그래서 저 커피 유대 좀 나고도 돼 이내고 뭐래서 유대 좀 잡아내는 것도 코랑이 커피를 차셔 먹고 싶죠 망고시는 것도 좀 커피 소고기도 와서는 요거만 와 어떻게 찾아서 좀 커피 되고 찾아 좀 슈크에 되고 오만로 커피 찾아 오마이 되는 신민도 그래 자기 뭐 붙였다 이것도 난 좋대나 거다 이내고 차셔 좀 했다나 넌 좀 같이 그러셔 나도 봐 왔다 또 파다 좀 같이 어때 저 삼로 스탄데나 아니 지금 소소리야 좋아하기 뭐지 아니 왔다 지금 뒤즈디에 거 동반이 거를 삼루지 땅저들 소소 겹상도 가. 조사대비 쇼핑센터 조치 저거 요때 이내야 소소 겹상 먹을 수 있는 도구도.
So this is like I really highly recommend this as one's kind of go-to reflection when we can consider, ourselves, just to kind of reflect internally. Say, me, look, I appear in a certain way to myself, but I do not exist in the way that I appear. What is this me, this self that wants happiness, that doesn't want suffering? That I certainly don't exist in this solid, objective sense, that I'm merely imputed by thought. I'm merely labeled, and to look at in all phenomena in a similar way, asking the question, how really does it exist? And then, that it appears in one way, but it certainly doesn't exist in the way that it appears. So we can be, like, for example, you can do this sort of reflection everywhere. If you're in a shopping center, looking around at all the people, boys, girls, and so on. You're talking about, look at the way they appear to the mind, and then really understand that they don't exist in the way that they appear, and to really, ask if I really want to look or analyze for how they appear. I will not find such an inherent objective existence that they do not appear and do not exist in the way that they appear. They're merely imputed by thought. So they're merely existing in dependence upon parts, for example. Or if you look at, say, like a coffee, you might have a coffee in the shopping centre, and apply that sort of analysis to the cup of coffee, and say, okay, the coffee appears in one way, to be really out there as an objectively existent, inherently existent, truly existent cup of coffee. But when you put it to analysis and ask, so, okay, but where is the coffee, that is so appears so inherently existent? And you won't be able to find such a coffee. You have to concede through analysis that the coffee was made by some barista, and that that required the cup, the saucer, the milk, the water, the coffee, the mixing, and whatever else went into it. And so it's kind of like only existence in dependence upon parts, or dependence upon it being imputed as coffee, as being a convenient object of that kind of designation. So when we have that as our go-to kind of reflection, that we can actually bring more joy and happiness into everyday life, we will also hone our reflection and our analysis of emptiness by doing so, and it brings some benefit to visiting anywhere, like a shopping center, like going out for a coffee. It brings a lot more benefit to that sort of mundane activity.
난거 요 말이야. 난거 요 말인데 다 그런 거 씀. 저랑도 같이 동네 가라서 나 난거 요 말이야. 다 이제는 좀 맛이 나한테 이거. 다 나한테 아니 들어서서도 당 가라서 지금 나중에 롭좀 준비 잡아 있어. 오메 다와 롭좀 준비 잡아 있어. 아니 뒤 리포트 상으로 딱 전에. 마인드 스파는 상으로 가만히 있는 상황 다 여기 있어. 그때 아니 때 거기 이때는 좀 두다한테 컨디션 좀 그래. 아니 그 두다한테 하고 같이 각자한테 하고 같이 아니 뒤 잡아지도 그 맞죠. 그 니주 매고 차도 그 매배 때 말이고 이때는 맞죠. 다 된거야. 되게 된 게. 다 아니 때는 오메 다와데 저 거서도 나도 마도나 탑이요 말이야. 오메 다와데 다또 저 가서 또 돌아 야고 싶죠. 또 쇼 서서는 뭐라 했죠. 아니 뉴도 또 쇼. 돈이 무슨도 뉴도 또 쇼. 뒤또 이나다 아니 소소기 그게 녀몬되게 카타서 내가 차리죠. 아니 되네 문에다 인디펜던트 있는 생도 왔다 문에 하기로 왔다. 시 인디펜던트 요말 가르치나 마시나 인디펜던트 요말이. 다 인디펜던트 문에 됐다. 녀몬기 아니 녀뭐 담에 또 베시라 라기로 거기 끼어서나. 아니 인디펜던트 인디펜던트 세베테면 인디펜던트 소소소고도 하면서 세베테게 요말이.
So this is the reality, whether in the internal or external phenomena, that they do not exist in the way that they appear. They are merely imputed by thought. But of course, this is not the normal way that we ascertain internal and external phenomena. We don't automatically understand this, and that although I'm not saying that there are maybe some of you who do out there, but in general, we actually accede to the way things appear, and they appear to us to be externally existent, independently out there, and we give in to that. We kind of like accept that. So this is the process of this kind of reflection, is to put in place that which kind of like starts to erode that incumbent way of thinking, and to put in the reality of the way things are. So, that and when we input internal and external phenomena to analysis, through searching for such independence, such objective existence, of course we don't find it. It is not established, but we don't conclude therefore that it does not exist. We simply we conclude that it does not exist in the way that it appears, and so this, is a kind of analysis that, on the one hand, we can, on the basis of our little study of Buddha Dharma, we can use our reasoning, and we can engage in this kind of analysis wherever, whenever, and it's important to constantly familiarize our mind with the way things exist, to ask the question, how is this established, and to really kind of put things to analysis in this way, to familiarize ourselves in this way, to understand that things do not exist in the way they appear, that does not mean that they do not exist, and that they do exist in terms of being merely imputed by thought. And this brings us closer to what's known as the middle way, the middle way point of view, and that to whatever extent we can habituate to that, to be convinced of that, we supplement that with our prayers as well, to say, may I really realize what I am thinking here. May I realize directly the middle way, and make prayers in that consideration. And so, when we are doing this, when we are habituating to this way of thinking, we are indeed bringing a sense of inner freedom to ourselves. It's not, and this is kind of counter to the idea that we often think that, when I am feeding my mental afflictions, that I'm doing what I want, that I have some sort of freedom there. Of course, this is completely erroneous. And so it's actually through establishing the middle way point of view in one's own thinking, as a kind of de rigueur attitude of mind that we apply constantly, that we are really establishing our own sense of freedom. This is a freedom that cannot be granted to you by others. It is something that must be established internally by oneself.
난 다가니지 남중에 라테들에 아니 다가니지 semjan 수투가 있네. 수투가 있네. 진짜 막게 semjan에 그 semjan 예쁘지. 진짜 막게 semjan에 이게 semjan 다 저거 된 쪽에서 왔다. 진짜로 삼삼자 하고 가지. 거기에 자수라이티. 거기에 자수라이티 개체버리도. 거기에 자수. 안 대체도 semjan 수투는 뭐시 맛이 개체버. sem나라 가나 쪽으로. sem 예부 쪽으로 와.
Of course, together with that thinking, of course, one also constantly, whenever and with whomever, reminds oneself that one is meeting with kind mother sentient being, always, and that this is so important that we can recognize this automatically, spontaneously, regardless of whether we know them or not. That's not the point. That they are all kind mother sentient beings, and that recognition to habituate in such a way that recognition brings a sense of joy to ourselves, a sense of closeness with that other being straight away. And so to have those kind of this kind of mind together is very, very powerful, very important. And so we can see the great benefit of that, the great profit in these kind of establishing thoughts in that way. It gives little opportunity for the mental affliction, to mentally afflicted thoughts to have their way, to have a kind of a root into our mindset.
디샤 생유 치아질 아메리카 프레시던트 사바차와 미마보 카타 미마보 마가 지기도 와. 다 처음에 열어지러 왔다. 담보시는 처음에 열어 와. 담보시는 디저 마킹 센제레. 지 코나마 긴주자 지금 그 줘봐 야고 매도 줘봐 맞지 봐요. 그 맞지 봐요. 가사 코나 긴주자 가요 말아. 이제 이제. 나 줘봐 지금마다 이내 줘봐 다다 뉴스날 쉐줘도 다 해요 말아. 가게 시기 마가게 시기요. 그다 그게요 말아. 먼저 가야 멋있게 배워. 자포고 간장도 돈이요 말아. 그거요 말아. 직전에 양보 빼 그래. 직전에 독자에 먼저 하고 말아. 그래서 가르치죠. 가서 저널리스트 가르치죠. 저널리스트 다 그게요 말아. 정말 와. 그런 뉴스 도 보고요.
And so, of course, we can hear from the kind of news and news reporters how the recent election of Mr. Trump as President of the United States is causing so much disquiet, let's say, around the world, and that everybody kind of has lots of criticisms to make of him, etc. But really, it's kind of pointless, this kind of talk. That he is a kind mother sentient being, and that we are not in a position to make any judgment with regard. We don't know the person, and that yes, of course, in terms of his behavior, you can say, okay, he's done some things that are dislikable, and some things possibly that are likable, but that we don't know this person. We've never shared a cup of tea with the person. We don't know them, and the press are in the business of news. It's a business, so they're going to make the story as dramatic as possible in order to sell newspapers and to get advertisement, etc. So, that what the real story is, we don't know. And when we don't know, it's better not to make any kind of judgment.
그게 말이야. 지금 야구 배우가 이래다. 그 야구 멤버이네. 그러나 쥐바디 야구 멤버를 가서 그러나 주제 그 말. 가서 이제 이유로 와.
And so, whether he is good or bad is almost pointless. That if he's kind of engaged in negative behavior, that must be separated from him as a person. So we do not judge the person on the basis of their behavior, and so on that basis, he is an object of compassion. So it's like if our kind of judgment of Mr. Trump just gives rise to our own mental afflictions, then that's a pointless activity.
You don't do la American presidential
So yes, he has become president of the United States. That's a done deal, and he's been elected by the people of America. So that's finished, fait accompli.
He's a karma.
He's karma. And so whether it's happiness arises out of that is actually dependent upon all of us. We're all in that. So it's kind of very dangerous thing not to be kind of like interpreting our lives on the basis of our own karma, but actually pointing the finger and looking at everybody else's behavior. That's a risky business. That's not a Buddhist point of view, not a Buddhist way of acting.
Well, that kind of man was got to in running your model of Kuga Mateva she was getting what she only came and we were in a candle positive or negative you can get negative Janja Mari, positive Mambuya, was positive to the Samurai. She was getting
So therefore this re-establishes or reasserts the importance of never allowing the mental afflictions to take control of our minds, and that there are many conditions out there, some positive, some negative. They're not all negative, there will be some positive, negative, but we have to be aware and to really ensure that they do not give rise to mental affliction. So in many ways that they are these kind of good and bad are dependent upon each other. Good is established as what was contrary to bad, and bad is established as what is contrary to good. So it's so important then to not give rise to a mental affliction, because without the mind afflicted in that way, we have every chance of maintaining a positive outlook and positive thinking, and that with mental affliction, of course, that feeds the negative thinking tendencies. So we are in cyclic existence, and this is the reality of cyclic existence. There will be inner and outer issues to have to deal with, and so it's absolutely vital that we have some sort of mental training to handle these issues. If we have no mental training, and then we will not be able to really establish happiness for ourselves in the future, let alone in the very here and now in this life. But when we have the mind trained, we have some sense of protection and able to transform the inevitable untowardness and suffering and misfortunes and so that arise in this life, in order to bring both peace of mind in this life and look after future lives as well.
소소 지에데 녀몽이 로바 지거도 녀몽을 카트 자거도 녀몽을 로바 지거도 오다데 장을 쪼라도 와 녀몽을 카트 자거도 장을 세기가 겹쳐 지거도 와 그것도 이네 자라지데 제바데 시신기 자라지데 개점버도 디라 도나 맞이나 소소가 취 지고 요소서는 녀몽을 상황 조지기도 근데 쌉쌉 맞은 것도 종치부 지거도
So each, at all times, it's so important for us to have the sense of checking in on our body, speech and mind, and to really ask the question honestly, is what I am doing right now assisting mental affliction or opposing mental affliction? So we can really have use our mindfulness and alertness to be kind of constantly aware of actually what is really going on with my body, speech and mind. If we ignore this, if we kind of do not apply this mindfulness and alertness and ignore, and then our body, speech and mind will be infected by mental affliction. So that even though we might be in a situation where we think we're doing some Dharma practice, that it will render it non-Dharma practice because of that.
무슨 미심발 따야라 소소 미고도 통고도 이제 미도 소소 통고도 와 그게 멜로스 고고도 와 멜로스 고고도 와
So our eyes can to kind of designed to look and see others out there, but we can't see ourselves with our own eyes. We need a mirror for that, and so we have to be that mirror for ourselves in using our mindfulness and alertness. And so our particular mirror is the graduated path to enlightenment, that this is the answering the question of really whether our actions of body, speech and mind are in harmony with the Dharma or not.
수바 델라 데나서 주주 좀바 훌랑반에서 방자봉에 주주 좀베 체 지라자와 녀모다 타베체 녀모기스 수르스 세블라 마치말라 그 수엔지 수르다 그래서 팔라 녀모 데나서 좀바 니가 라 케바잖아 좀바 잡고 소세.
So the next outline I can't see it there. It's on the basis of that, on the basis of really abandoning the kind of unfavorable conditions and taking on the favorable conditions as have been described, we are now intent on the entering into or cultivating joyous perseverance. And so here it's how we engage in abandoning what needs to be abandoned in the course of developing joyful perseverance. And so here it's saying when we are engaged in battle against the mental afflictions, and that we can take on the one hand defensive precautions and thus avoid a wound to the mind, and then on being on the offensive when we have identified the mental afflictions, we can destroy those afflictions by applying the antidotes. And so this is what we need to become really expert at, and this is really at the heart of what the job of joyful perseverance is.
루다 디만시 잘레데요. 디마서 dim나시 소소 루카와 dim나 레보다 디나시 고뚜이네 다 토마메바네 레데요. 이네 당고서 셈베라시는 요모 주요 말때 이나양 고체 셈베라시는 요모 말때 이나양 고답에 고뚜이네 다 사실은 슈바나시 잘레디고 다 고뚜이네 요데도 아니 나라도 배 차사고 자고요 다 차상화 자고데 데데 제와이나 데데시네 고가브라 데데시네 고가브라 그래서는 그 뒤에 두부 쉬우절래 못 봐. 두부 쉬우라 진 당시 나란쪽에 삼로데 딱딱 제스 받지에 딱딱 다들 갑자기 자두가 제대 개치고 그래도가 개치고 차대고 있어요. 다들 시고지 남주 배주 땅고 있어요.
So what this is really describing in this paragraph, and in on the one hand, the fact that how the mental afflictions, because they have kind of like been a stain on our minds since beginningless time, how they are completely ubiquitous. They are always kind of latent in our mindset, and therefore looking for any opportunity. Like this is the way they are adventitious. They see anything that looks like any sort of a conducive condition will automatically give rise to the mental afflictive thinking, mental affliction mind. And so it's sort of like it's like the mental afflictions are aware of every kind of conducive conditions for their own arising, for their own good health. And therefore, as it says here, we need to become expert. We need to become even more knowledgeable about the mental afflictions that they are about our own dispositions, personality, and the conditions. So, and indeed, that also to be aware that yes, my mind is stained by mental afflictions, but they are not a natural or inherent part of my mind. They can be removed. And so, from our position, we need to be able to use our intelligence to perfectly recognize, perfectly oppose, and ultimately perfectly uproot mental afflictions. And so that skillful means that is conjoined with this sense of effort, this joyful perseverance to continuously oppose the mental afflictions.
지금 이런 거 유다 셈제 엔터랑 대화듯이 출라 배주 당 두에 쪽으로 왔다. 대화듯이 배주 당 그래서 준에서 라제 류선 개와로 조슈 요원도 주제다 조슈 야코베도 대 원도 주제 대 제수 제면나 안 주들래 버서 주바 일하자. 대개나 되네 어서 소탐제 대라도 주가 주다. 대 좋아이나 아니 지금 가서 소난다 이시가 초대다 탐제 아니 지 가세 매바자 좀 돼야지. 요 그래서 내가 좀 그랬어.
So the next outline is how then this joyful perseverance kind of like renders the body and mind pliable, and that this joyful effort enthused for virtue in a way controls a body and mind. And so here this joy for the engaging in virtue, that when we become that becomes really powerful in our mind, that it follows that it really again as it were fuels our joyful perseverance, and that when we have kind of like this kind of perpetual motion of joyful perseverance like that, then the collections of merit and wisdom can be very quickly and easily established and completed. And so we can see how central joyous perseverance is really, to kind of have this joy for the accumulation of virtue, and how it's like a central fulcrum for all of the different practices, how we enter into the path, the degree to which we train in the path, and bringing that training to completion all are dependent upon our joyful perseverance. So we can see, like trying to perfect patience, for example, without the necessary effort, the joyful perseverance, there's no way of bringing that to completion. So we can see also that this continuous abiding in cyclic existence and mired in our own suffering, where there's constant states of suffering and problems for us, is due to our lack of joyful perseverance in kind of accomplishing the opposite of that. And so we can see that a lot of the difficulties that we meet with is due to a lack of joyful perseverance. So we can see that even by the definition of joyful perseverance, that which rejoices in virtue. So imagine if you had that fully established in your own thinking constantly, that I'm taking joy out of engaging in virtue. How can you have problems? There'll be no issues at all for you in your practice, in your life. So we can see how it's essential in all the different perfections, because there is no element of the joyous mind of engaging in an act of generosity, or the perfection of ethics, or the perfection of patience, or the perfection of meditative concentration, or wisdom in turn. And so that it's the joyful perseverance that instills that sense of real benign feeling of joy in engaging in these kinds of practices. Whereas from our point of view, the only we kind of think, joy, when you think of it, that's in pursuing the stuff of this life, joy of cyclic existence. This is the kind of limit of where we want to instill our joyful perseverance. And so that element of joy, is kind of no hardship of distance when one is setting out with that mind of joy. And I'm referring to those coming from like a Bendigo, like from quite a distance away, that to have that joy in coming to the teachings and so on, that it makes it a very short distance. It's not a big deal. Yeah. So we know how tiring it'd be, because we went there yesterday, and so we have some experience. So indeed, with joy in the mind, that we can really handle so many difficulties, so many problems.
배 시우 지마도 개면도 가. 근데 지금요 다 욕라데.
So it's also very beautiful here, isn't it? In the context of the perfection of joyous effort, how also the notion of taking a short rest is prescribed, and this again shows like this skillful means. It's not a case of insisting that you constantly, engage in this process of effort, but it's recognizing the limitations of our body and mind, and being able to say, you are, encouraged to do what is acceptable to you and your capacity, and that yes, that means that if we engage, have difficulties, that we can take a short rest, reassess, and then re-engage again.
Shiva Deliasa Lucen, Lesu Rumacha, what did Josara, Lucen, Kivala, to dry maro.
Josasa.
Lucy Kivala, to shoot yes on Chuchi, the Jesu Jevana, to do level to they has a sort of better to start so that you see that to do nobody would get to not to do because of Kivala to somebody would kill you know that. 소는 보초다 이식을 초주발을 같이 했다. 모두 준주게 또 게임에 와서 준주게 누가 투부 참여해 있어. 준주 약고 딜레트고 매워 있어. 아니 뭐지. 개발 쪽에서 뭐 출시 못 해서 다 개발 약고래 세지 여름에도 좀 약고래 뭐 개발 쪽에 개치 버려 가지고 되게 야차로 되네 마음에 와서 디제트 가서 포토에서 봐. 쪽에서 뭐 되네 연구보다 쪽에서 뭐 되네 연구가. 그래. 하디래 되는 거. 뭐
So again, to re-establish that sort of essential point or position of enthusiastic or joyful perseverance in the practice, in the perfections indeed as well, to show that this is how do you say it's skillful means, but it's also that it is an essential component of practice. It's not just a case of an appreciation of virtue, that we go, oh, virtue is great, isn't it? It's lovely to engage in virtue and paying lip service to it, but it has to be actual effort as well. It have to be actual engagement in it. And so yes, you feed into the joyful perseverance, the joyful aspect of it, of taking delight in virtue, but it also requires the actual using the capacity you have to engage in actual acts of effort to accumulate virtue. And again, this is not something that is an external quality, but something that is cultivated from within.
시바 대다 두배 제치다 자원에서 다 두두 그래서 다 준주 강 좀양사 담바 두변의 자와다 아니 가서 신주다 자와 두고 돼서 다 받쳐 주다 되나 두고 그래서 담바 두대다 그랬다 저가서 준주게 지마 준주게 가서 다 준주게 다 가서 왔다데 아니 쇠바다 준주다 아니 sab대다 싫었다 가제 파진 두고 냠래 레레 나라 두두 차와제다. 그거 수주 소주 레고와 왔다 됐어. 냠래 지고르스 그래서.
And so the fourth main headline is how to practice then the joyous perseverance. Here it's saying that it is practiced in conjunction with the six supremacies and in connection with the six perfections as well. So, for example, like when we are, giving joyous perseverance, that is included in the perfection of generosity. So we have joyous perseverance connected with perfection of generosity, perfection of ethical conduct, perfection of patience, perfection of meditative concentration, and wisdom.
제투에라 그거지. 그 때때지 용투에라 제투에라 그거 일라서 다 제투에 수에들한테 집어서 차트도 와. 왔다든지 다든지 파지 집어서 지나시 질 반차도. 다 간제 저거 준비 다지다 파지 그 두고 강가게 집어 차도. 뭐 강가게 좀 다 찍찍 잡아 차도. 레와 파지 찍나 두두되어 와. 파지 레레다 두두두두. 파지 두두 파지 레레다 파지 레레 감내는 파지 두두두두 딱 집어. 순서도 요다 되더라. 그래 다 장주 선배게 장주 선배 탐대기도 산제 고마지 두고이나 두고이나 장주 그 마지막 탐도 다선 개발선 그 산제 고마 타고서 타고도 가르스나 쇼발을 낳고도 와. 좋아 좋아도 좋아 있어. 나 산제 공부를 도긴 스토가 지긴 있으나 걸리고 봐. 뭐 진짜 도긴 일라나 도긴 삼도 나고 삼도 고고였는데 되게 걸리고보다 그 모다이나 릴리나 남도이나 지날 도고도 와. 아니 신야 걸리기로 와. 다들 조에 최대 가서는 파지도 냠내 되는 와. 좋아. 좋아. 죽겠을 게다 냠내 지에들 와. 다 딜라 때네 아니 딜라 때네 다 디디고 산제 고마스 다 령고로 와. 령고로 고 령고로 어디래. 다들 어디래다 되죠.
So here it's saying, when we have established in ourselves that joyful perseverance, that we kind of abide in joyful perseverance ourselves, then we can be an example of that to others in the context of giving joyful perseverance, and this is in related to the perfection of generosity. An example of it, that we can demonstrate that, explain that, and so that they are led to joyful perseverance themselves. And so and this is then as an example, and this is kind of like relevant in all the 6 perfections. And indeed, each of the 6 perfections have these kind of 6 elements of the other perfections within them as well. We can see how in the course of fulfilling our objective of attaining enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, we have to kind of on the one hand generate the mind of enlightenment, but that must be followed by actual engagement in the activities, and it's these perfections and the 4 ways of accumulating disciples are referred to as the activities. And so the generation of the mind of enlightenment, like an aspiration, it's like the idea of going somewhere, but the activities, the actual engaging in the practices, is like actually buying the ticket, getting on in the car or the train or whatever to actually make that journey. So making the journey to enlightenment is actually the engagement in the activities based on the motivation of bodhicitta. So here it's this is how we kind of set down the causes based on those activities that will lead to the result of enlightenment.
집안에 땡가서 야라 셔바 되게 상게 좀 되게 셔럽 그 파진게 냠레 야부 용어 지고 소화됐어. 좋았다. 셔럽 그 파진 냠레 타지 뭐좀 마종아 이바이나 마종아이나 산게 고바 두두요. 그래서 셔럽 그 파진 냠레 타지 뭐 마종아나 아니 가서나 무슨 뭐유게 내주 타치가 신기요 말이야. 딱 뭐유게 내주 들라 시발라 셔럽 보고도 봐. 다시 근데 셔럽 들라 아니 군조베 셔럽 된다베 셔럽 이용고 딱 군점에 싫어다 된다베 싫어니 차상와지 타치마지 마중아 이바이나 아니 되게 다들 좀 두고 와 그래서 다들 동해 용화에 돼 대화 두고 밑에 동해 용화에 뭐유게 내좀 마시는 줄 알아 뭐유게 내좀 마시바 인자 아니 주 노라지 두는데 대부 노라지 라데요 봐. 딱 뭐유게 내좀 시바 이바이나 아니 시베 톤에 아니 대베 주 딜레 아니 유튜브네 디 리트베트고 디기 용되기로 와. 디자 딱 그저 지금 뭐유게 내주 시발에 시럽고도 와. 다 시럽들라 아니 군조베 시럽 된다베 시럽 요거다. 딱 군조베 시럽 된다베 시럽이 타치바지 시발라 아니 디다데 파젠 하망하게 냠내디게도 고고도 와. 아직 다 먹는 게 남래도 거기도 뒤 좋아지네 아니 셰프 남래 제도 거기도
So as it says in the Bodhisattva's way of life as well, a good reminder that, all the within the 6 perfections, the first 5 branch practices are for the purpose of really establishing the 6th, which is the perfection of wisdom. And that here it's saying without completing the perfection of wisdom, we will not be able to attain the state of enlightenment. And so it's kind of like important to understand that yes, all the perfections are vital, all important, but that in their context, the first 5 are for the purpose of really completing the 6th, the perfection of wisdom, because without perfecting our wisdom, we will not be able to understand reality correctly, and this it means like reality, both conventional and ultimate reality, and it's so important to understand that without that sort of understanding, we will be experiencing the suffering that we do not want, and we will be forever bereft of the happiness that we do want. And we have to understand that that this is happening, the suffering that we do not want and the happiness that we want not happening for us, is that because of our being mistaken with regard to the causes of suffering, the causes of happiness. And this comes from not really understanding reality correctly, not having proper wisdom. So we must understand it kind of like, on the one hand, the harmonization between cause and effect, and that's the job of wisdom in doing that. And so it's very, very important that we understand that the first 5 perfections are for the purpose, are like branch practices for the development of the 6th, wisdom. So the kind of perfection of wisdom sutras, are named for wisdom, showing just how central the practice of wisdom is. The Prajnaparamita sutras. So it's kind of showing the preeminent importance of wisdom, really. So the kind of the direct or overt subject matter of the perfection of wisdom sutras is, of course, the realization of emptiness, and then the kind of implied content of the perfection of wisdom sutras is the path that you thereafter practice, having familiarized with with emptiness. And so this is how it's presented. So we leave it there. So again, to kind of do our very best to practice, to put all this into practice.
sambuta yana so sosu nieba su nieba niebe de gom kon to ka kibe kiba chibu ko ba tendu sheyu ba ko 기능에 발라버 대비나 같은 장 훨씬서는 다 에듀케이트 시키고 제일 열스기도 그래서 남들이 봤을 때 말이야 남들이 봤을 때 랑 뒤뒤에 치고 있다 요랑이 뒤뒤에 배주 땅 거도 거 셰이 바다 레 바로 뭐 직tam을 치고 와 그 뒤도 다 뒤뒤발라 시바장을 피는 것도 시바데 시랍이 열 때 이내 최종부 시랍 최종부 시랍 때 남배 중은 나는 가서 야배 시랍 시바들 야바 소수 말이야 야매 기계 야마 배자 예 시바드네 야매 시나 그래서 그거를 저 학교에 들어와 다디 소설 편 학교에 계셔 버려 얘네야 학교에 되는데 야네 양로서 근데 쓰레샤 뭐 이거는 저는 랑도는 예바트만 대주로 와 아니 예바 랑도 오 티텐데 이바데 소수 예바 예바다 대 소수 시랍죠 디 예바 예베 되는데 아니 좋아요 말이야 좋아요 말 때못 차게 디 때못 차게 되는데 아니 뭐도 교회는 공작국도 와. 퇴삼 삼로당 공. 퇴삼고서 야마대 버치고서. 지금 지금 맞으면 지금 말이 야마대 버치고 수제가 더 좋아이나 또 봐줘. 아니 오늘 시바도 차오로 와. 시바도 차요 말와. 그래서 등도 시에도 냠도 자주 못 와. 등도 시에는 거 식당 전달을 제시 잡도 놓고 신사를 놓고 버비사를 갈라를 지고. 그냥 내 제게를 못 와. 샘뒤에 말와. 남도 이거 거기에 좀 내려 말와.
So what we are, when we actually, it must be remembered here that we're discussing a kind of a Buddhist education, and that not like a modern education, and to understand the differences between. So, here we employ the integrated practices of learning, contemplation, and meditation in order to pacify and transform our own mind stream. And so here is that we gain some understanding through learning, through our study in the Buddhist context, and then we put that to analysis by constantly contemplating on that, gaining the wisdom arising from contemplation. We gain the conviction in what we have assimilated, and then we put that to our meditation, and that's the process of habituating to that which we have become convinced of, and this is the wisdom arising from meditation. So it's very, very important to understand that the difference there between what we regard as a kind of a modern external or mundane education, which is in no way done for the purpose of transforming the mind. It is like just sort of a information that is loaned from others. We gain from teachers, from professors, and so on, in order to pass some sort of exam, get some sort of certificate, become a title, have a title. But that's not about transforming the mind. That's not about really refining our wisdom. Here we need to always understand that our engagement with the Dharma is in order to bring about the pacification, control of, the transformation of our inner workings, our mind stream, and that comes from this integrated practice of learning, contemplation, and meditation. So here it's that which we must be able to analyze the basic information, the data we get from the texts, so that it becomes something that we have reached absolute conviction of from our own analysis. So it's like a self-won ascertainment, and that then can be meditated on to bring it to a point of realization. So that's very, very important. And also to understand that when we have such conviction reached on the basis of that sort of analysis, it will not change, will not waver. And so it's very, very important to understand this process. So we do the Lam Rim prayer. from my two collections is a space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddha's minds of practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of compassion, not aimed at true existence, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hordes of demons without exception. Sankapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, Losa Jaka at your feet, and make your grace.